Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Your Message Podcast. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you 5 easy ways to start sharing your unique message online today. Because as you guys know, this is no secret, I firmly believe that everyone has a unique message to share. We all have something that has come from a mess in our lives where we realize, oh, that's important. I need to be sharing this with someone. I could help people because of X, Y, and Z that happened in my life. We all have a message that has come from a mess to share. And so today I'm going to be sharing with you 5 ways that you can start sharing that message online today. Now, you might be listening to this, or maybe you've listened to a past episode and you're thinking, I have no idea what my unique message is. I have no idea what I could even share about from my life or past experiences to help people. And friend, I completely get that. I have felt that way many times before, sometimes even recently, and I'm sure I will again in the future. And so I have created something for you that's going to help you figure out what you can share, what your current unique message is that you have available to tell to people, to help people with. So if you are in this position where you're wondering, what is my unique message? What have I learned that I have to share? Then you can go to katielaurengraham.com/find your message. Again, that is katielaurengraham.com/find your message, and go there to discover your own unique message today. Now, after you've done that, or if you already know what your unique message is, then this podcast episode is exactly for you. I'm going to be sharing 5 easy ways to start sharing your message online today. Let's dive into the episode. Hi, friend, and welcome to the Message Podcast. I'm your host, Katie Graham, a wedding photographer and lifestyle blogger who just launched my own magazine, Your Message Mag. I'm determined to help women just like you lean into the messes of their lives and find the message they have to share. Here we believe that secrecy helps no one, but transparency and vulnerability have the potential to help many. Get ready for some encouragement, to be inspired, and to be given all the tools you need to share the unique message you have to share with those who need to hear it most. This is the Message Podcast. Do you know what your love language is? My love language is definitely gift giving. I love giving gifts, and my favorite way to give gifts is purchasing gifts through Uprising, an online printing company where you can create customized gifts for those that you love. Throughout the whole year being a new mom, I've had parents and in-laws asking for their gifts to be photos of Beckley, and Uprising makes that super simple. Plus, for my dad on Father's Day, since it was his first Father's Day as a grandpa, I created a personalized board book full of pictures of him and Beckley straight off of my phone. Nothing fancy, guys. And Uprising makes it super simple to upload those photos, add them to a book template, and then print it, order it, and so it's ready to go to give to the ones that you love. I have a lot of friends ask me where I recommend getting photo books or printing, and if you're looking to do it yourself, the DIY method, then Uprising is always the place that I recommend. This is even the place where I go to purchase gifts that I get for my couples. Go to katielaurengraham.com/artifactuprising for $20 off your first order. Again, that is katielaurengraham.com/artifactuprising for $20 off your first order. You can also click the link in my show notes. So in today's episode, we're going to be focusing specifically on how to share your message online. Now, obviously, you can tell your story to people face-to-face, people who are in your circle, who you have direct contact with. You can share with them, and I'm sure you already have if you're good friends with them or family members with them. That's perfect, and I would highly encourage you to continue doing that. But it's no secret that the online world is a huge part of our lives. The online world is something that we are a part of every single day. Sometimes if you work online, it feels like all day, all the time. And so being able to share your message and have it be a part of your online presence is a great thing. And online, I know that everybody talks a lot about like the negatives of it, but there honestly are so many ways that you can utilize online to help people and to make the world a better place. And sharing your message is all about helping people, making the world a better place. So being able to do so online, that is a huge thing. So 5 ways you can do that. First, let's talk about Instagram, because I feel like that's the most obvious one, and it's probably an app you already have on your phone. Like you could definitely start doing this today without any hesitation. So on Instagram, there are a few different ways that you could go about sharing your unique message that you have. Right now, Reels are where it is at. And Reels, I personally am not a huge fan of creating them. I am still trying to figure them out for myself, but I understand the science of them and I understand their place within the app. So if you're someone who really enjoys creating Reels, you can get very excited. So right now, Instagram is all about Reels. And because Reels are their new function that they've introduced recently. Well, I guess not all that recently, honestly. It's been over a year and a half since they introduced them, but it's still their newest function, which means that when you create a reel, Instagram is pushing it. It is more likely to push that reel than it is to push just a normal picture post. So Reels are how you could go about bringing in new followers. Think of Reels as like your advertising on Instagram. You create a reel to encourage and to inspire and to create wow factor to get people interested in your story and what you have to share. And your reels are the most likely thing to bring in new followers, new people to your account who you can share what you have to say with them. Now, stories are another part of Instagram stories, and this is where you can build connection. So if you want to have a further connection with people who are interacting with your account, who are following you, stories is a great place to do that because that's where you can show your face, people can hear your voice, you can share stories on your stories of your life, show behind the scenes. So think of stories as where you build connection with those people. And then your feed, so thinking about your feed as a whole, your grid, that is your storefront. So you want to fill your storefront with tiles showcasing what you have to share. So when you're looking at your grid on your feed, you're wanting that to be filled with what you have to share and make sure that it is a proper representation of your message and what you are hoping to put out into the world. So you can make your Instagram account educational and encouraging for others who may be going through a similar thing as you are. So if you have a specific story or message that you're wanting to share with people, if you have someone who is going through a similar thing, what would they need to hear? What would be encouraging to them? What would inspire them? What would help them, most importantly? And that's stuff that you can put out on Instagram. Now, a quick breakdown on how this could look practically on Instagram is this. I would recommend doing maybe 2 feed posts per week. These are ones that are just pictures, maybe carousel posts, and these should educate or encourage your following and any new people who come to your following. So I would do 2 feed posts per week, and then also share those feed posts on your stories for a few days after you post them, just so that you know everybody is able to see them. Now, after that, I would recommend sharing maybe 2 to 3 reels per week. I would make these reels in tangent with your feed posts so that they're working together to encourage your followers and create connection. Where feed posts go a bit deeper, I would say that your reels are meant to be quick and snappy. They are to grab attention and to bring in those new followers. Because Instagram is most likely to push reels, you want them to be attention grabbing and really kind of hook people in. And your feed posts are where you can get those new people who've come in and they followed you. Those feed posts are where you can dive a bit deeper with them. And then after you've done 2 feed posts per week, and I would say 2 to 3 reels per week, I would encourage you to be on stories every single day. This is where relationships are formed and you can be more vulnerable. The golden rule amongst Instagram experts is that you want to be on stories for at least 1 minute every day showing your face. So you want to be on your stories 1 minute every day showing your face, and that is 4 15-second clips. It's really easy to do. If you're wondering, like, what do I talk about for a minute on Instagram stories? It's really not that difficult. You can show some behind the scenes of your life. You could talk about your most recent reel or post that you just posted. Or you could answer a question that you got verbally. It's not that difficult to do. You could even say you have your message that you're wanting to share, and you're wanting to share it here on Instagram. You could pick just a small portion of that message that you have and share that, talk about it on your stories. And maybe you just every day. It's almost like chapters of a book. Every day you share a 1-minute chapter of your story, and that's a way that you could just continue it on. That's an idea that I had off the top of my head, but it could be really cool, and personally I'd find that very interesting if someone I followed did that. And that would be a good way to keep people coming back because they're interested. So that's a quick overview of how you could use Instagram today to start sharing your message. It doesn't have to be complicated, and this is probably the fastest one that you could implement because chances are you have Instagram on your phone already, so you don't have to do any creation in that regard. So the second thing that you could do to start sharing your message online today is YouTube. Now, YouTube does not have to be fancy. I know how intimidating YouTube can see, but I follow YouTubers with hundreds of thousands of followers, and they shoot on their iPhone. In fact, my husband, Jackson, he follows a man who has millions of followers and talks about old cars, and he shoots his videos on his old iPhone. He hasn't even updated. I have no idea what number it is, but he brags about how it's old. So, yeah. Old iPhone, that's totally fine. Just something that can create video. The big thing with YouTube is the content. You want to focus on creating content that is interesting and helpful, and then you can focus on improving your video quality. So what I would recommend is create a channel that is focused on sharing your unique message. Like your message, your story you have to share is the entire focus of your channel. And then what you could do is you can break your story down into snippets. Kind of like I said with Instagram, you could break your story down into chapters and then make a video for each chapter. Don't just tell your whole story in one video, but break it up. Make people want to watch the next video and then the next one and the next one. And another thing you can make videos about is answering questions that you get frequently. So say you have your story that you want to share, your message you want to share, and you break it into chapters and you put out those videos, like one video per chapter, and somebody asks a question on one of those videos. Instead of, like, obviously answer the question, like comment back at them and answer their question, but then also make a video about that question. Make a video addressing it and sharing the answer a bit more in depth than you could in just a comment. You could also make a video addressing common misconceptions that you get. There might be things that you realize people might assume about a situation or a scenario where you're like, actually, that's not the case. Make a video on that. YouTube does not have to be complicated, and YouTube is a great way to be able to establish a very quick connection with people because they're not only hearing your voice, but they're seeing your face. And it allows people to really feel like they know you, even if they don't. They feel like they do. I mean, if you follow people on YouTube, I'm sure you feel like you have a real connection with those people, even though you might not actually know anything about them at all. You feel like you do. So YouTube is a great way to establish that trust and get your story out there and help people rather quickly. Now, for a quick breakdown on the workflow for YouTube, first, you're going to want to film your video. You can do this on your iPhone or whatever device you desire. I mean, if you want to do it on a fancy camera, have at it, but an iPhone is seriously fine. Then you're going to want to edit your video. You can either use iMovie if you have a Mac or a PC equivalent of iMovie. There are free video editing softwares available for whatever computer you have, or you can do something like a Final Cut Pro if you really want to step it up. But again, like I said, focus on your content first and making it helpful and engaging and interesting, and then you can focus on the gear you're using and updating that. Now, you're going to need a thumbnail for your video, which basically a thumbnail, if you don't know what that is, it's when you're scrolling YouTube and you make a search for a type of YouTube video and you see the little picture next to the titles of all the different videos that pop up. That picture is the thumbnail. And you want the thumbnail to be something that says, like, click me, click me. It grabs people's attention. And you can use something called Canva. I love Canva. It is completely free, or at least for this. Just use the free version, Canva, canva.com, and you can use Canva to create a thumbnail. They have templates available ready to use. It's super simple. So one, film your video, edit your video, use Canva to create a thumbnail, and then you're going to upload the video to YouTube. And it's super easy to do. You're just going to create a description, maybe giving a quick little snippet into what you're talking about in your video. Maybe link your Instagram account if you have one so people can find you on there if they enjoy your video. And that is it. I have made this process extremely simple because I believe that YouTube can sound very intimidating when it doesn't need to be. When you're starting out on YouTube, focus on the quality of your content, not the quality of your equipment. Content is what will actually help people and keep them coming, because when you help people, they want to come back. They want more. So focus on helping people, focus on encouraging them and educating them and bringing them some joy and assurance. And those people will keep coming back, and then you can focus on improving your quality of video or sound or whatever it is you want to do. Okay, so we've covered Instagram and YouTube. Third, let's talk about a podcast as you are listening to me here on a podcast. So a podcast is a great way to share your message, because how do you actually share a story? You talk about it, and podcasts are all audio. It's just listening to people talk. So a podcast is a lot like YouTube, except for it's only audio without any video. Personally, I find podcasts very freeing when you have a busy life. I know that I personally can create a podcast episode without any makeup on, or in the middle of the night, in the middle of maybe in my car if I wanted. All I need is a device to record audio on it, and I'm good to go. Speaking very candidly, right now as I'm recording this episode, I am in a big old dirty sweater, some baggy sweatpants. I have not yet brushed my hair today, and come to think of it, I don't even think I've brushed my teeth yet today. I am in no state to have a camera on me, but I am providing you with information that is hopefully very helpful and encouraging to you, and I'm pouring into you with just my voice. That is the beauty of a podcast. I love it. One last thing I want to say about a podcast: if you have dreams or goals of becoming a speaker one day, I would highly recommend creating a podcast. A podcast is a perfect platform for you to practice your speaking skills, gain confidence, start getting your voice out there. It's an excellent stepping stone. So if you have any dreams of becoming a speaker one day, start a podcast. Start practicing there. Now, again, for a podcast, just like YouTube, the big thing is content. Focus on creating content that is interesting and helpful, and then you can focus on improving your audio quality, having a fun intro and all that kind of stuff. Focus first on content, and then you can work on improving the audio quality. So create a podcast focused on sharing your unique message, just like I recommended with YouTube. So maybe break your story down into chapters and make a podcast episode about each of those chapters. Again, you could make a podcast episode answering questions you get frequently, or to address common misconceptions. And the great thing about a podcast is you can create your own schedule. So you could commit to weekly episodes, which is what I have done. Or you could do seasons that are released periodically. An example of this would be like a TV show. Maybe say that 2 times a year you release an 8-week season, where for every week for 8 weeks you have a new episode come out, but that only lasts for the duration of 8 weeks, and it happens twice a year. So you have 2 seasons a year. That could be another way that you could do it. Podcasts, there's no rules. So just do what you think works best for your schedule and for the people you're hoping to serve and help, and run with it. So let's talk about a workflow for a podcast. Creating a podcast is much easier than many people realize. I find it to be the easiest creation-wise of all the options I'm giving you today. That might sound very surprising. You're like, wait, even easier than Instagram? Yes, friend, even easier than Instagram. So much easier than Instagram. So in my opinion, everyone's gonna have a different opinion. That's mine. So 3 steps for creating a podcast. 1, record your audio. You could get a mic for $30 on Amazon, easy. Or if you're on a shoestring budget, you could record a voice memo on your phone. That works just fine. I follow a woman who has a over 500 episode now podcast, and she recorded her first podcast episodes on her iPhone, in her car, in her garage. No joke. So whatever budget you have, you can have an audio recording device. Don't be afraid to just do a voice memo on your phone, or you can go to Amazon and get a mic. It's not a big deal. So after you've recorded your audio on whatever device you decide to use, second, you need to edit your audio. So I personally use iMovie to edit all of my audio. iMovie also gives me the option to export the audio as a video, which means I can share it as a podcast episode and a YouTube video, which means I can kind of double up and do both podcast and YouTube. Usually, if any video editing software has the ability to edit the audio as well. So I would go that direction for editing your audio. There are great tutorials out there on YouTube, online, on blog posts to kind of walk you through that process, but it's really not difficult to do at all. And then third, after you've edited your audio and you're ready to share it, you want to share your audio. So personally, I use Anchor to distribute all of my podcast episodes. It's free and extremely user-friendly. My dad got me onto this. He uses it for his podcast. Anchor is what distributes all of my podcast episodes to the different listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I put the description and the links for the episode in one place, Anchor, and then Anchor makes sure that it gets to everywhere it needs to be. So it's so simple that it almost seems silly. And so record your episode, edit your episode, and then you're going to post it to a distribution platform like Anchor, and Anchor will take care of making sure that it gets to everywhere it needs to be, like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of that, so people can actually listen to it. And that's all there is to it. That's it. Creating a podcast is extremely simple and easy and something you can do very quickly. It took me only a few days to get this one up and running. So yeah, a podcast is a great way to go about starting to share your story. Have you ever felt like you're called to more in life? Do you desire to encourage others? Have you experienced a mess in life that you wish to share with others to help them grow and feel less alone? I created Your Message Mag for driven, encouraging, and servant-hearted people just like you. Your Message Mag is my new lifestyle magazine focused on bringing encouragement and inspiration into the lives of others through impactful storytelling and seasonal content. Each issue features guest writers with powerful, impactful stories to tell. Get ready to experience the first magazine you'll not only read cover to cover, but will also change your life. Subscribe to Your Message Mag at yourmessagemag.com. Again, go to yourmessagemag.com to get your first copy. The link is also in the show notes. All right, fourth, let's talk about blogging, because blogging is not dead, y'all. In fact, I love blogging and find it to be very therapeutic for me. If you have a unique message or story to share, writing it down can be very powerful. There is something very special about written word. There's a reason we get so excited when our favorite YouTuber, celebrity, or podcast host writes a book. It's because when a story is written out, it's like it's given permanence. It's there on paper or on a web page in written word. There's something really powerful and special about that. Blogging is a way for you to get your story down in written word without all the processes of writing a book. It's simple, available for any budget, you have complete control over it. So this is perhaps the most complicated of the processes I'll share today, but it's also monumentally beneficial long-term in my mind. For example, if you have a desire to write a book or be a writer of any capacity in the future, I 100% recommend starting a blog. And start it now. It's a safe space for you to practice your craft, to get your story out there, and find your specific writing style, and it's so low pressure. So again, for a blog, like podcasting and YouTube, the big thing is content. Focus on creating content that is interesting and helpful, and then you can focus on improving your blog, making it more pretty or quick, all those things. So create your blog focused on sharing your unique message. Again, I'll use my chapters example. You've got your whole story you want to share, break it into chapters, and do an individual blog post for each chapter. Make a blog post answering questions you get, address common misconceptions. I would highly encourage that you share photos from your story to give your readers context and to invite them into it visually. Sharing photos from a time in your life that you're referencing in your story or in your message would be great. If you have a YouTube channel or a podcast, you can also share those videos or episodes on your blog so that everything is interconnected. Now, when you go to create your blog, there are many resources online for how to do it, and there really is no one solution that's going to fit everybody. But here's a basic overview of how you could do it based off of how I've done it personally. So one, you're going to want to purchase a domain, or in other words, you want to purchase your URL. So for example, my blog is katielaurengraham.com. That is my domain. My domain is katielaurengraham.com. I own that. So you want to figure out what you want your URL to be, and you need to go purchase that. I believe the easiest way to go about doing this is just to go to Google Domains. Just go to Google and go Google Domains. I just said Google so many times. But go there and it'll pop up, click the link, search for the URL you want to purchase, and then just purchase it. I think it's like $12 for a year. And then you'll just have to renew that $12 every year, and you will own that. Next, once you have your domain, you want to figure out where you want your blog to be hosted. It needs a home in the interwebs. You need a hosting platform to house your blog, and there are hundreds of options for this. I personally use Pixieset, as they specialize in websites for photographers, and my main job is a wedding photographer. But other options are Squarespace, Wix, WordPress. Do a quick Google search for blog hosting platforms and just pick one that looks good to you. I personally love Pixieset, and I find that they make it very easy. And I love the designs that they offer. It's like limited options, but they're really well done, so it makes it very quick. But everyone has their own preference. So just do your own looking into a blog hosting platform, and you'll be able to find one that you feel like works well for you. Next, you're going to want to link your domain to your hosting platform. So once you've found a hosting platform, you've purchased your domain, you're going to want to link them together so that when people actually type in that URL, it goes somewhere. And then you're going to want to choose a blog template or a website template. Most of these hosting platforms are going to have templates to get you started, which makes creating your website, your blog, super easy to do. So just pick one that looks good and start designing it. We could do an entire podcast episode we could do several podcast episodes on designing and tips that I have for designing your blog, your website. But I'm just going to tell you 4 things that you want to make sure you have on your website. 1, make sure you have a home page. 2, make sure you have an About Me page. Give people a little introduction into who you are, what you have to share, and why you share it, and how you can help them. Then 3, have a contact page. If people want to get a hold of you, how do they do that? What's your email? Are you on Instagram? Put a contact page there. And then 4, your blog. And your blog is where you're going to be sharing your stories, have your actual posts. Those are the 4 things that you need to do. Then your last step is to just start writing. Start putting things out there. Start sharing your story. Do like what we talked about. Do a chapter of your story per blog post and share pictures with it. Share experiences, tips that you have for people, encouragement you have. Just start writing. And I'm going to tell you right now, you are going to criticize your first post. You're going to criticize your first 20 posts. It's going to happen because you're going to be self-conscious and you're going to feel like, should I actually put this out there? Is it helpful to anybody? Yes, it is. Yes, put it out there. Just do it and it'll get better. You'll improve over time. But even if it is clunky and you have typos and your grammar isn't perfect, it can still help people. We don't demand perfection at all, but we do need to actually show up. All right, the last way that you could start, or not the last way, but the last way I'm going to share today that you could go about sharing your message with people online is through an email list. And this is probably the most obscure option on the list. I would be surprised if you've even considered this. But last but not least, share your story via email. So with an email list, unlike Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or any other social media platform, you are not relying on an algorithm you don't fully understand to put your story in front of people. With an email list, your story is going directly into the inbox of those who want to hear it. And the best part is, you know they want to hear it because in order for someone to be on your email list, they have to actually sign up for it. They don't just click follow. They have to put in their email and click and say, I want emails from you. Growing an email list may not sound very exciting, but it's very useful and something that as your following grows becomes all the more valuable. If you have a product in the future, you now have a list of email contacts to advertise it to. If you host a speaking gig in the future, you now have a list of guests to invite. If you start a program, you have a list of people you know would be interested and direct access to them. Email lists are immensely powerful and sorely overlooked. Now, creating an email list is super simple. not difficult at all. First, choose an email management platform. This is a platform that will collect the email addresses of those who want to sign up, who want to be on your list, and where you will create any emails that you want to send out. My personal preference for an email management platform is Flowdesk. You have probably heard ads that I have created about them in the past. I love Flowdesk. They make designing beautiful, engaging, on-brand emails super simple. Plus, they're a fraction of the price of most other platforms. I could not recommend Flowdesk more. If you want to look into Flowdesk, you can go to katieLaurenGraham.com/Flowdesk and check them out there. I have a code that you can get a discount off of the monthly subscription for using them. Check them out, guys. They're amazing. Once you have chosen your email management platform, then you're going to want to link your email to that platform. So choose the email you want people to see emails from you coming from, and link that to that platform. Once you have your email linked to the platform, you're going to create a sign up page. This is the page people will go to sign up for your email list. If you use Flowdesk, they have templates ready to use for this, which makes it really easy to do. All you have to do is select a template, make sure it looks the way you want to, and then click go. Next, you're going to want to invite people to join your list. So share your sign up page and invite people to join your list. It would be a good idea to give people some incentives to join your list so that they know exactly what they're getting out of signing up for your email list. And then after that, share your story with your email subscribers. This is where it gets really exciting. So send emails sharing snippets of your story, send emails for new Instagram posts, podcast episodes, blog posts, or YouTube videos. Send emails encouraging your list or educating them on something pertaining to your message. Get creative and have fun with it. So there you have it, guys. Those are 5 easy ways to start sharing your message online today. I'm sorry if you're hearing growling or whining in the background. My puppy just got loose. We have a hectic house around here. This could be a whole episode of its own. And I am currently fighting him for control of the cord of my mic. Beauty of a podcast is that you can't see the mayhem that is happening behind my microphone. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode, found it helpful. If you have any questions at all, or if there's something you would like me to dive deeper into, maybe I'll make a podcast episode about it. So just shoot me a DM on Instagram. Let me know what that is. And if you haven't yet, leave a review on this podcast. That would be a huge help to me. Please leave a review. It only takes like 2 minutes and it would really help me a lot. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next podcast episode. Bye. I always knew emails were important for running a successful business, but there was one catch that kept driving me crazy. I didn't know how to make them look eye-catching or on brand. I didn't know a thing about code or web development, so I assumed I'd have to hire a designer if I wanted beautiful, high-converting emails, which, to be frank, simply wasn't in my budget. I felt at a loss, but then I was introduced to Flowdesk. Flowdesk is an email marketing platform that makes creating beautiful, on-brand, high-converting emails easy. I'm now able to create and send out beautiful, on-brand emails in 10 minutes or less. Plus, Flowdesk has a great tool for scheduling out emails in advance, which means I can set it and forget it, which is perfect for my busy schedule of being a full-time mom and running 2 businesses. Try Flowdesk today to start killing the email game. Go to katieLaurenGraham.com/Flowdesk for 50% off your subscription price for life. Again, for 50% off your subscription price for life, go to katieLaurenGraham.com/Flowdesk. FLODESK. I will also have the link in my show notes. Thanks for listening to the Your Message podcast. Did you enjoy today's episode? If so, make sure you're subscribed to this podcast and leave a review if you haven't already. This really helps with encouraging the podcast apps to share this with other people to maximize our impact so we can help as many people as possible. Also, if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to screenshot this episode and share it on Instagram. Make sure to tag me at katieLaurenGraham so I can share in the excitement with you. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.